You know, it's never easy to get this to work. So I'm going to give it a try again, and I'm going to add Meagan from here and see if we can get it to work. It doesn't always work the way we want it. It's one thing about Facebook Live. Hi, Rosemary. Okay, let's see if we can get you, Meagan. Let's see. Is it going to wait for how long it's taking? It's lessons learned. We're going to figure out a way to make this all work beautifully one day.
Hi. Okay. Oh, we got it. This is fabulous.
Tell people at home how many computers I have open, all right? I got one.
Oh my
Seriously, I have two.
Oh my goodness. All the things to get it to work.
Learning. Anyways, Meagan, I'm so happy that you got the opportunity to join me. How are you?
Yes. Oh, fabulous. Doing good.
Oh,
just
got
busy.
a bottle here with you.
Pardon?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, can hear you good.
Good. Okay. I was going to say you've got a model with you.
I do. We have Liz here with us tonight. So we're going to be doing the tutorial on Liz's face. Liz is obviously already stunning, if you guys can see. So this is going to be really easy for us. How's this view for everybody to see?
It's perfect. I can see beautifully. I'm small, but you know what? I'm going to figure out this technology bit at some point. But I just wanted to give a quick intro to who you are.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, you can hear me. There you go. So everyone, this is Meagan Taylor, and Meagan I was lucky enough to have her do makeup for that Mrs. Canada Globe pageant.
Yes.
We had, you did such an amazing job. It was a wonderful experience. And Meagan, you are not only a makeup artist, but you also teach other makeup artists. Is that right?
Right, yeah. So I've been across Canada. I've been in Hamilton, and I've also been in Victoria teaching makeup artists. And then, of course, a ton of makeup artists here in Regina, Saskatchewan, where I'm based out of. So yeah, it's been crazy. I teach people to do their own makeup as well as makeup artists, and I just launched a lash line, so that's been insane. So there's been a lot on the go.
Oh, I bet.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you into your tutorial.
Fabulous.
I have a few questions for you at the end.
Yes, that'd be great. Yeah, and then if anyone has any questions during the tutorial, if you guys could just maybe save them for the end, just because I won't be looking up too much at the screen, that'd be fabulous.
Awesome. Absolutely.
Lovely.
Okay.
So I guess the first thing I want to mention too is that your makeup application is going to be individual to you. So if you have dry skin, oily, normal combo, you're going to want to adjust it to your own skin type. So I'm just going to ask Liz, like right off the bat, what is your skin type, Liz? Do you have dry, oily, normal combo skin?
I'd say it's dry.
A little bit on the dry side?
Yeah.
So because your skin is dry, I'm going to go in and hydrate it first. I'm going to be using, this is just the Belief moisturizer. I don't know if you guys can see too well, but this is just a Canadian company. It doesn't really matter. You can use whatever moisturizer you currently use. But I'm just going to go in and hydrate her face off the bat. If this is your own product, you can just put it on with your fingers. But because this is a client, I'm just going to be putting it on with a brush. And you're just going to want to put this all over. This is just going to make sure that your makeup sits really nice, doesn't hold or doesn't catch many areas. And you also want to put this on first so it has time to kind of sit in and sink into the face before you go in and apply the foundation and the powders. So basically you can only powder as much as you're moisturized. So if you're not very hydrated, you can't add a lot of powder because it's really going to sit on the face and start to look a little bit cakey. But if you've really hydrated your face off the bat, you can go in with quite a bit of powder, which is a really nice look. Very nice. I might bring this in a little bit more, maybe right about here, so you guys can really see there. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with a primer. So I'm going to be going in with the Tarte. This is the Poreless Primer. So I really like this one. It's just going to fill in any kind of texture. And you're just going to push this primer into the T-zone, into the center of the face. I don't know if you guys can see this on, would you just turn slightly this way? Yeah, perfect. I don't know if you guys can see this on camera, but it really does kind of just smooth everything in the area. It fills in any pores. This is a really good primer by Tarte. You could also use Benefit Cosmetics, has a really nice one as well. But priming the face is going to be super important. You can add this to any area where you have any texture. If you have any fine lines, you can also add it to those areas. I'm going to just turn slightly towards me. So same thing, I'm just gonna push this in on this side of the face. You really only have to put this in the T-zone. You've hydrated the rest of the face, so this is just T-zone, any areas where you see pores. If you have a pimple or any kind of acne, you can put it over the acne as well. And then just a little bit more straight to the camera. Very nice. Start with the eyes. You want to start with the eyes so we can keep the face clean. So I'm going to go in first. We're going to do a concealer all over the lid. So I'll show you guys this. So I'm going to be using Tarte's concealer. This one is the Aqua of the Sea concealer. This one is in the shade medium. I like this one because it's really hydrating. The Aqua line is really light because it's a water-based concealer versus an oil-based concealer. So it's quite lightweight. And then just close your eyes. And I'm just going to put this all the way underneath the brow. Fill in this entire space here. All over the lid, because this is going to act as your eyeshadow base primer. You can see I added really generous, and just turn slightly this way. Perfect. You can see I added a really generous amount of product as well, because next we're going to go in with the Beauty Blender, and we're just going to blend this all in. And just close. So I'm just going to lightly push this with the Beauty Blender. You want to be really light when you're pushing this because you don't want to get rid of all the coverage that you've just put on the face. And then just look straight ahead. So you guys can see the difference between the two eyes already, even just a little bit more brightening to the eye, just adding that concealer. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side over here. Just underneath the brow. Liz already has a really nice sculpted brow, but if you had to go in and sculpt your own brow, it's really important that you do get kind of right up against the brow like this, if you had to create the shape a little bit more. And then same thing, I'm just going to grab the Beauty Blender and then just lightly kind of push this in. Awesome. Now everything that you do with a cream, you're going to have to set with a powder. So we just did that concealer all over the lid. Now we're going to set it with her translucent powder. So this is going to be the same powder that you're going to use on your face. So I'll show you guys again. So now I'm just going to come in with the Laura Mercier translucent powder. It just looks like this. Sorry, Liz, I'm like right in front of your face here. Okay. But this is just the translucent powder. I'll show you guys this a little bit. It's just a loose powder like this. This one doesn't have a color to it. And I'm going to grab the Beauty Blender and I'm just going to kind of dab it into the translucent powder. And then you can see I have quite a bit of product on the sponge. I'm just going to pat it off on my hand and then just close. I'm just going to make sure that there's no creasing in any of this. And I'm just going to lightly kind of tap this powder all over the lid until I don't see it anymore. And that's just going to set the area before we go in with the eyeshadow. So this is going to make sure that the eyeshadow doesn't stick to anything. Everything's kind of dry, melted down. So the eyeshadow should just be seamless on top of this. All right, and I'm just going to turn you slightly like this. Very nice. Okay. So I wanted to make this tutorial easy, and I'm going to use one palette. I'm going to be using this Tartelette in Bloom palette. I thought this would be easier just because it kind of has everything you need. I'll show you the inside here. So it has a nice mix of like mattes, and then it has shimmers, and then it kind of has, it goes from lid to crease to darkening the outer V to even deeper in the outer V. So it's kind of an easy palette to use because each of these ones is lid, crease, blah, 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 lid, crease, blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of nice, kind of everything in one palette. So I'm first going to go in with just like a nice blending brush. This one is from Morphe. It's their I believe R39 brush. And I'm going to go with a crease color. So I'm going to go with this one right here. And I'm just going to put this throughout her crease. So you can do this with the lid open is usually the easiest way. So just look straight ahead. And I'm going to lift up at the brow. And then I'm just going to go in at the back. And you want to hold your brush a little bit further back on the barrel. I'm going to go in at the back, lift up, and then just little circular and windshield wiper motions in the back of the crease here. The reason you want to do this with her looking straight ahead or with yourself looking straight ahead is that so when you, 90% of the time you're going to be looking straight ahead. So you want to make sure that the view that everyone else is going to see is going to be quite nice. And also that you can see the eyeshadow above the crease when you are looking straight ahead. Sometimes if you do it with the lid closed, you end up opening the eye and then you can't see the makeup that you did. So So I'm going to come on this side. And same thing, I'm just going to grab that color again. This one is the color Smarty Pants. If anyone has this palette, I definitely do recommend this palette. It's a really nice eyeshadow palette. Tarte makes nice eyeshadows. And then just look straight ahead. And I'm just going to do a circular motion back and forth on the back there. I'm going to go back in with that color and just build it a little bit. Just look straight ahead. I'm just going to build it a little bit more just in the crease. So this one I'm going to keep a little bit tighter. You can see I'm not really taking the product up too much. I wonder if I have to bring them like a little bit closer. I'm gonna see how close I can bring this. There we go. So same thing, just kind of circular motions, keeping it pretty tight. And I'm just gonna keep darkening it until I kind of get a color that I like. And this is meant to be your transition color, so you want it to be a really light matte color. Then I'm going to go in with a shade a little bit darker. So sorry, Liz. I'm going to go in with this shade right here. And I'm just going to build this at the back of the eye. So same thing with the eye open. I'm just going to kind of keep this on the lid underneath the crease, on the back of the lid. Right in like this. And then I will take it a little bit up in the crease at the back once you don't have much left on the brush. And you can see how it's kind of starting to create a little bit of that like smoky depth type of look. So same thing, just on the lid underneath the crease here at the back. Kind of a blending back and forth motion. And then you'll take it a little bit up in the crease here. And then do you like shimmers or mattes on your lid? Do you have a preference?
Shimmer.
Shimmer? Fabulous. Okay, so we're gonna do some shimmer. So I'm gonna pull this one from the Tarte palette here. And with the shimmer technique, I'm gonna use this MAC brush. You can see it's a flat brush, and I already have a little bit of product on there. And what I'm gonna do is just close. I'm gonna press the eyeshadow and then slide. So this is only something you do with shimmer, and you can see it's just a really, really bright, vibrant look. With matte eyeshadow, you wouldn't have to do this, but with the shimmer, it just really brings out that shimmer. And I'm going to press and slide all the way forward and about 3/4 of the way back. And then I'm just going to blend with my finger back into that darker color. So just kind of all becomes one. And same thing on the other side. I'm going to lift up at the brow, press here, and then slide down. And then press and slide all the way forward. And then about 3/4 back, and then just blend with your finger. And then just look straight ahead. Very nice. And you can see why we start with the eyes, because it already has a little bit of fallout under here. So this is why we always start with the eyes, and you can clean that up at the end. And then I'm just going to take one darker color. I'm going to take this one here, Leader. It's kind of a really dark brown. I'm going to take this shade and just darken it one more time at the back of the eye. So just look down, actually. I'm just going to keep this right at the outer V, just to kind of increase the depth of this look. And then just look straight ahead. And I'm going to take a little bit in the crease at the back here too. And just kind of smoke that out a little bit. Very nice. And then just turn slightly towards me. Awesome. And then same thing on this side, just kind of making a little V shape here. And then look straight ahead. And then taking it throughout the crease, just at the back. You want to keep this color low. You don't want any dark colors to get too high at all. And then just straight ahead. Fabulous. Okay. Now we're going to move on to eyeliner. So I'm going to be using a brown eyeliner today, but you can use a black one, whichever one you like. I'm also going to be using a gel. I'm going to be using this Inglot gel liner. This one is in brown. So you guys can use this one, or you can use, if you have a kohl eyeliner works as well. I like this one because it's nice and waterproof, so you don't have to worry about it moving around. And I'm just going to grab a little bit of the product just on an angled brush. Put some on my hand, and then just work from here. And then just close your eyes. I'm just going to turn you slightly towards me. And you're just going to lift up. Of course, if you're doing this on yourself, it'll look different than, because you won't be able to do it with your eyes closed. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to either just look straight ahead. A lot of people, when they're doing their own, they'll kind of just look at it, and then they'll pull out here, and then they can just kind of get up in here, is what I would recommend. If you don't like pulling, you can just try and kind of get in there as much as you can. You can do a little connect the dot. The biggest mistake I see with eyeliner is people try and do it in one go like this, whereas you really can just connect the dots slowly and kind of make a nice line. But because I am doing this on a client, I am going to do it with her eyes closed. I'm going to turn you slightly towards me again. And do you like your liner winged?
Sure.
Yeah. So easy going. Fabulous. I'm just going to do a little bit of a wing here. I'm just going to take it out slightly and then just build it up at the back of the lid. And then just look straight ahead. Very nice. And another thing that you're going to want to do is, because we are doing lashes, if we weren't doing lashes, you wouldn't have to do this, but just look down with your eyes open and then this way. Perfect. I'm just going to lift up and do this white section under here. Just because with lashes, I find this looks quite nice when it's done, and down in this other way. And I'm going to lift up and do this like little section in here again. And then just look straight ahead. You can see I just made that entire area just quite black, it's not black, sorry, it is brown, just quite dark, which is what you want. You just don't want any lightness in that area to really, it really would emphasize that you have lashes on then. And then just close. And then same thing, I'm just going to line on this side, creating a little wing, building up at the back. And just look straight ahead. Very nice. And then just look down and then this way. And we're going to lift up and do the underneath. This is called a tight line, and down in this way. I highly recommend this, especially if you are over 30, 35. This is a really good step. Okay, fabulous. Then I'm going to be using my lashes today, of course. So these are my lashes here. And I'll just kind of show you guys. So I'm going to be using these ones here. These ones are called Love and Lace. So I'm going to be using these ones. I like to use these ones because they're kind of a basis lash, and then I can customize them to the client's eye. So I will show you guys. First, what you want to do before you apply lashes is you want to grab your lash curler. You just want to curl the lashes, so just look down. Is this okay? Mm-hmm. So it might take you a couple times if you are trying to apply lashes to yourself to put them on. Not everyone gets them on their first go. Is this okay?
Yeah.
But I do find it's quite easy once you kind of get it. So I'm going to grab my mascara. I like using waterproof mascara, so I'm going to use this L'Oreal Voluminous Mascara. It's really, really good. Such a staple for me. And then just look down. And I'm just using a little mascara brush, but of course, if this is your own mascara, you can just use it straight from the wand. Just look straight ahead. Very nice. So now what you need to do with the lashes is I've just removed the lash from the case. And now what I need to do is just size it to see if I need to cut anything off. So just look down. And straight ahead. I'm just looking at you for 1 second. So it's just a tiny bit long. You can see at the back here, it just needs to be trimmed a little bit. So just look down. So I'm just going to trim this one a tiny bit at the back. So I'm just going to grab my scissors. You always trim from the back. And I'm going to trim off just one little section here, just like that. And then you're going to apply some glue to it. So I'm just going to grab my lash glue. This is the House of Lashes lash glue. This is a really, really good lash glue. And you're just going to apply the glue to the lash, just to the band like this. And you don't need too much glue, just a little bit. And then you're going to want to let the lash sit just a little bit, just so it can kind of dry. So I'm just going to let that lash sit, and I'll do the other one. And in the meantime, could I just get you, Liz, to just wipe underneath your eyes? And I'll give you a little mirror here too, so you can see. Or I guess you can see in there, hey? I'm just going to do that to the other lash. So I always let the lashes sit a little bit while I move on and do the foundation. So I'm going to move on and do the foundation now. I'm going to grab, Liz has got a nice tan, so I'm going to grab a little bit of a darker shade. I really like the Makeup Forever foundations. They are really nice and lightweight, and you can kind of build them however you want. So I'm going to be using this one today. This one is in the shade Y365. So Y because it's a yellow tone, or it's a Y. If it was a cool tone, it would be an R. So because Liz is quite warm, we're going to be using a yellow tone. I'll grab this from you. Awesome. I'm going to bring this back in. Very nice.
Eyes look beautiful.
Just wait.
Yeah, just wait till the lashes.
I'm jealous. You look fabulous.
Aww.
Thank you.
All right. So with the foundation, what the first thing I like to do is just kind of use my brush and just kind of press it on the face. And then just turn slightly towards me. So you can see I'm just moving in downward strokes. The reason you want to move in downward strokes is because everyone has little hairs on their face and you don't want to push the little hairs up. So you always want to be pressing things into the face or moving in little downward strokes. This will give you the nicest application. And then I'm just going to leave this part for 1 second unblended while I go in and put the lashes on, because the lashes should be dry now. So again, this process is different if you're putting the lashes on yourself versus if you're putting them on someone else. I'm just going to talk to you guys about this for a second, because if you're putting them on yourself, what you're going to want to do is you're going to kind of look down into wherever you're doing, and you're going to pop them right behind, almost squint and pop them right behind. But because I'm doing this on a client, I'm going to get her to look down. I did do a video on my YouTube channel about how to apply lashes if you guys need, so I can definitely give you the link to that as well, because it really is an easy thing to do. I just turn slightly towards me and look down. You're just going to pop them on behind the lashes. I use tweezers, but you can use your fingers as well. And then you're just going to pinch it together with your fingers and just look straight ahead. Very nice. And I'm going to pop the other one on. So these ones are my lashes in the style Sweetie. This is probably one of my most popular pairs. This one's looks really nice for brides, bridesmaids, any kind of event makeup. I've done a lot of mothers of the brides with this pair as well. The same thing. I'm just kind of popping them on with the tweezers. And then I'm just pinching them with my fingers. And just look straight ahead. Very nice. Awesome. Love lashes. And then I'm just going to grab the Beauty Blender and I'm just going to lightly press the foundation into her skin. Just like so. Again, you want to be light-handed so you can keep a lot of the coverage of the foundation. And then just turn slightly towards me and just look all the way up. Very nice. Awesome. I forgot to mention too, if it's morning and you're doing your makeup, another thing you can do is use some like little eye gels or just something cooling. You can even grab like spoons from the fridge just to reduce some of the puffiness. A lot of times when we first wake up in the morning, we have a lot of just fluid retention in the face. So a good thing before starting the makeup is maybe just use something cooling, whether you have like a cooling eye cream that you keep in the fridge, or if you have eye gels or a spoon or something like that underneath the eyes, just to keep the area nice and depuffed. So because it's evening and Liz didn't just wake up, she does not have puffy eyes. So we are going to go in and instead just do a color corrector. So I'm going to be using the Giorgio Armani color corrector. This one is their peach one. And I'm just going to be using this under the eyes. You can use any color corrector you have. This is just to cancel out any kind of dark circles, blue veins, anything like that underneath the eyes. So just look all the way up. So this step always goes on before concealer. So you're going to color correct and then you'll conceal. Liz doesn't even have any dark circles underneath the eyes. Honestly, we're just doing this to create a really bright, open look. So same thing, just applying with your fingers to the other side, all the way up to the lash line and before concealer. And then I'm going to go in with the same concealer that I did underneath the eye. So this is going to be the Tarte Aqua Concealer in the shade Medium. So this will be the same one I did underneath the brow. And I'm just going to, I'm actually going to add a tiny bit of the lighter concealer. I just have the shade Light Medium. So I'm going to mix together both medium and light medium, just so it's a little bit brighter underneath the eyes. You usually want to go about one shade brighter underneath the eyes, just to create that really open, bright effect. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this concealer all the way down to the nose and all the way out on the side of the face here, kind of in a bit of a triangle shape is what you want to do. The same thing on this side, all the way out, down to the nose. I'm also going to do a little bit of highlighting with this, so I'm just going to go down the center of the nose, in the middle of the forehead, on the chin, and just on top of the lip here. If you have any texture or fine lines in this area or this area, I would not highlight those areas, but because Liz doesn't, we are going to go in and highlight all of that. And then just look all the way up. So then I'm just going to go in with my Beauty Blender and just lightly pat, again light, just so you can keep the coverage of that foundation, of that concealer, sorry. And just lightly kind of pat that in all the areas that you did it, on the nose, on the forehead. And just look all the way up again. Yeah, perfect. Very nice. And again, I just go with the bottom of the Beauty Blender where I add the foundation, and I just go around the edges of the concealer just so that the concealer and the foundation blend in really nice. And there's not kind of like a line between where you started the concealer and where you started the foundation. So it all just flows super pretty. Oh, looks so good. Love it. Okay. All right. Then I'm going to go back in with a Laura Mercier translucent powder, just this here. And again, using my Beauty Blender. This is like the easiest step ever. I love using the Beauty Blender to also apply the powder. It's just one less brush you have to buy. And again, I'm just going to stamp a little bit off on my hand and then just look all the way up. I'm just going to pat it up with my fingers to get rid of any creasing that might have happened. And then I'm just going to set by pushing this powder. You can see when I first go in, you can see a little bit of the residue of the powder, but I'm just going to keep blending until that's all gone. So I'm just going to go in and set and then keep blending it until I do not see any residue. It's all just looking like her skin again. And if you get oily, I would do some extra powdering in any area where you get oily. So if you get oily on the side of your nose, I would add a little bit extra there. Forehead, add some extra, kind of wherever you get oily. Liz did say she was dry, so I'm just going to set the T-zone. You don't want to do too much powdering if you do have drier skin because you really want to look more radiant. Gorgeous. Okay. Awesome. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this is the Makeup Forever Pro Bronze Fusion. This is my favorite bronzer of all times. It's amazing. The reason is that it's just so easy to blend. It just blends like a dream. You're never going to go in and get any harsh lines. Thank you, Liz. Turn in for me and everything. So what I'm going to do is just on the tops of the cheekbones here, I'm just going to bronze the face. So anywhere where kind of the light would hit, you're going to bronze. You don't want to be doing too much contouring because the face naturally contours as you get older. So you want to just be doing more bronzing on the side of the face. I also take it down the neck a little bit just so it all kind of blends in really, really nice. You can also pinch the brush like this and then do the side of the nose as well, just to kind of contour the nose slightly. I find that's always a nice look. You can do underneath the lip, and then just turn slightly towards me. So same thing on this side. I'm just going to tuck this behind your ear. I'm just going to kind of press this on the tops of the cheekbones, creating a really nice bronzed, healthy color to the face. And I'll also do it on the temples here, and then kind of push it back to the hairline. How you bronze your forehead depends on the size of your forehead. Usually a forehead should be around 4 fingers from the brow. If you have 4 fingers from the brow, then you don't have to be doing a ton of bronzing up here. I would keep the bronzing more to the side. If you have 5 fingers, which I do myself, I will show you guys. I have all 5. So I contour up here on my forehead. But because Liz doesn't, she has a 4 head instead of a 5 head, we're just gonna keep it on the sides here instead of this area, because it's already, we don't want to bring that area down anymore. It's already good. Perfect. Lovely. And then you can go in with whatever type of blush you like. I'm just going to turn this back on me here. You guys can go in with any blush that you like. Because Liz said she had dry skin, I'm going to go in with a cream blush. So I'm going to be using, this is just a lipstick palette that I put together. I'll show you guys here. It has a ton of my favorite lipstick colors. These are like Tarte. What do I have in here? A lot of Tarte, a little bit of MAC, and like some Burberry in here. So these are just lipstick colors. So I'm going to use this as a cream blush. I haven't found a bunch of cream blushes that I really like, so I actually like using my favorite lipstick shades to do this. So I'm going to go in with this one here on the bottom. This one is Fast Play by MAC. So I'm going to go in with this. I'm going to grab a little bit with my spatula, put it on my hand. And then I usually just work with the 2 fingers like this. Kind of blend it a little bit and then pat it. You don't want to go in with too much of this, of course. And I'm just going to put a couple spots on the face here and a couple spots over here. So it looks a little funny until we blend it out. I went in with a little bit much on this side. You can always just kind of adjust too. Like I went in with a little bit much on this side, so I'm grabbing some of my fingers and I'm just wiping it off on my arm here, so I'm not adding too much to the face. And you're just going to add this on the high points of the cheek. So a good rule of thumb is just look straight ahead, is from the center of the pupil back is where you want to add the blush. You don't want to add it too far forward. So we're just going to add it from the center of the pupil here back. I tend to like a lot of blush when you first start out, because blush is something that really tends to fade as the day goes on. So I always start off a little bit, not too much, but a little bit stronger than maybe you would like, because this will really fade very fast. And I think blush adds such a nice color to the face and such like a nice healthiness to the face. So let's see this. Gorgeous. Awesome. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in her brows. So I'm just going to grab a brow powder. I have this brow book by Anastasia Beverly Hills. I will show you guys. It's just full of a ton of the brow powders. You can buy each of these ones individually. So I'm just going to spoolie up her brow hairs a little bit here and just turn slightly towards me. And just spoolie up over here as well. Perfect. And then I'm going to go in with medium brown. And I'm just going to start at the back. So I'm going to bring you guys in a little closer, actually, because I know brows are kind of a popular and tough thing for some people to do. And just turn slightly this way. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line from the bottom first. So just line underneath the brow. If you don't have as a defined brow, you're just going to create that brow. So you're just going to line wherever the brow should start at the bottom there. And then you're just going to slowly, in hair-like strokes, just kind of build up and then back. And then you can spoolie too if you went too dark in any areas, or you just want to make it a little lighter in any areas. And just turn slightly towards me. Perfect. And then what you're going to do is the same thing. You're just going to bring this forward, just kind of lining at the bottom. And then just kind of I turn the brush vertically, and then I just kind of push it through the beginning of the brow. And just look straight ahead. So you guys can see the difference between the two brows. This already has great brows, but this just adds a little bit extra, a little bit more.
Very nice.
Yeah, which definitely wouldn't be necessary. Do you fill in your brows every day?
No.
Yeah, like she wouldn't have to. This is definitely like an extra step for her because her brows are already so nice and defined. So again, I'm just kind of bringing that back. And I'm going to bring it forward and just line at the bottom of the brow here. And then push that product up. Just kind of filling in any areas where I see it's a little bit more sparse or the hairs are just moved around a little bit. Very nice. Gorgeous. Okay. I'm just going to bring it a little bit in here. Awesome. And you can kind of create whatever shape you'd like with the brows. I do have another tutorial on YouTube if you guys want to check out all about creating the shape of the brows, because Liz does have really defined brows and it is different if you don't have as defined of a brow. Okay, now I'm going to go in again with my Tarte palette. So I'm going to be using probably this shade here, the same shade that we used in the crease, and we're going to be using this underneath her eye. So if you would just look all the way up, you're going to want to grab a pencil brush for this. So I'm going to use this one here. You could also use, I have this one here, the Bdellium Tool 780 would be a good pencil brush to use. I'll show you guys with this one. And then just look all the way. And you're just going to go about halfway in underneath the eye, as close to the lash line as you can get. This is just going to kind of close off. I shouldn't say close off. This is just going to finish the look. Depending on your eye shape, you're going to either come, so if your eyes are closer together, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to keep the color closer to the back. If your eyes are further apart, you're going to want to bring the color closer in to give the appearance of the eyes being closer together. So those are just some things to keep in mind as well if you do have eyes that are a little bit wider set or a little bit closer set. Just how far to take the shadow. So I just did a little bit underneath the eye. You guys, I don't know if you can see that, how well you can see that on camera. Yeah, just a little bit underneath the eye. And I'm going to go in with a little bit of a darker shade, just this one here. Sorry, Liz. Just this shade here. And just look all the way up. And I'm just going to keep this one right at the back, just to kind of give it a little bit more of a smoked out look and straight ahead. Very nice. And all the way up. And again, just right at the back, just to give it a little bit of a smoked out look and straight ahead. Gorgeous. Okay, then we're just going to do mascara on the bottom lashes and lips, and then that's pretty much the look. So again, I'm going to go on with my favorite mascara. Oh yeah, you have to see this whole thing. The L'Oreal Voluminous Mascara. It's the best. And I'm just going to use a spoolie, and we're going to do her bottom lashes. So I know not everybody likes how long their bottom lashes are, so you don't have to fill in the whole bottom lash if you don't like that. I love the look of lots of lashes, so we're going to do all of her lash. Gorgeous. And just all the way up. And I like to kind of toggle near the root as well, and then just kind of bring it down, because you want to get most of the product at the root of the lash here. And just look straight ahead. Very nice. And then just look down, and actually straight ahead again. Okay, and then down, it's perfect. I'm just going to put a little bit of mascara, just bind her lashes with these lashes. So I'm just kind of holding my finger at the lash base and just kind of toggling the mascara brush against it, just so that you don't see the color of the lashes underneath the falsies. Straight ahead. Very nice. Okay. Now I'm just going to grab a lip liner. So this is one of my favorite ones. This is Urban Decay in Naked 2. And I'm just going to use this one to line the lips. You always want to line the lips so that you don't get bleeding of the lipstick. Oh, sorry, girl. And then just smile really big. I know this is kind of awkward because you're right on camera. There we go. And you're going to fill in the entire lip. So I line at the bottom and I fill in the entire lip. Very nice. Fabulous. And then I'm just going to grab a lipstick. I'm actually going to use the exact same one that we used for the blush, which is this one over here, because I think this is a really nice color. And just smile again. And I'm just going to put this all over the lips. You can use a lip gloss if that's your preference. I really like a lipstick. Some of my favorite brands are definitely, I love Tarte and I love Charlotte Tilbury for lipsticks. If you guys like lip stains, I like Stila Cosmetics. I find lip stains are a little bit tougher though if you do have drier lips. But if you don't have dry lips and you like that longevity, then definitely a lip stain might be the way to go for you. So lovely. Awesome. This is the finished look. I will show you guys. Just look down for a second. So you can see the lid view with the shimmer on the lids and look straight ahead. And then just turn your whole head this way and then the other way. Very nice. So just like a soft, but still, still glam look with some lashes. What do you think? Is that something you can do? Is this something you could do, Sue?
Oh, no. Gorgeous.
A little bit of practice, hey?
Wow. Wow. You know, I have a feeling that if I try that, I'm not going to quite look the same, but what the heck.
Oh, you're gorgeous.
It's just,
You are. Okay.
well, that's why you're called
open here. Awesome. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, I'd definitely love to answer any questions maybe about your specific skin type or anything like that. Was there any questions you had, Sue, about anything?
Oh, of course. You know me. I usually have a list set aside. I asked the girls a group with me.
Fabulous.
So I'll start with, okay, first one is from Joanne.
Yes.
She says, I see more women and celebrities with their eyeshadow done under the lower lash line, like you did there.
Yeah.
Well as side. I think it's a good look. Is it a good look for my close set eyes?
Yeah, so if you have close set eyes, you're going to want to make sure that you keep the shadow towards the back of the eye. You don't want to bring anything forward on the top or on the bottom because that's just going to bring the eyes even closer. So you want to do things to elongate the eye, like take the shadow out at the back. You're going to want to blend out your shadow towards this section back here. Instead of taking it up, you're going to want to focus at the back. Take everything out. You're going to want to blow everything out to kind of create that elongated eye. But she can still do it for sure, just to make sure she keeps it at the back. Because it is a good look. I think it's it just finishes the look, I find. You kind of need that underneath.
Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
The next I've got is from Carol. She says, how do I keep my eyelash curl once my mascara is already applied?
So I'm not sure if she is curling her lashes before, but if she has curled her lashes before, let's assume she has, then what you can do is you can take an electronic lash curler. It's like a heated one. Yeah, they're really helpful, and you can kind of just press it against the lash, and it'll just kind of push the lash up. Another thing she can try is, I know that some makeup artists suggest actually curling it with the mascara on. So of course you'll just have to make sure that when you release the lash curler that you release fully before you pull away, just so that if any of your lashes are caught, you're not pulling them with you. But I would maybe try and curl again. Another thing you can do is maybe get a lash tint. Lift and tint, honestly, would be maybe another helpful thing. I know the lash lifts are super popular now, and it really does keep the lashes nice and curled. Because I know some lashes do just lay flat no matter how many times you curl them, no matter how many times you do use the heated lash curler. So if the heated lash curler doesn't work and she's tried curling them with mascara on, I would recommend the lash lift.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. That sounds
procedure. It's like a perm, but for your lashes.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Super fast.
I learn all these things every summer. Okay, next one is this is actually from a couple of people, so I'm mixing this a little bit.
Perfect.
I don't wear foundation and never have, and I typically am like that. However, when I would like to have more formal or long-wearing makeup, what foundation would you suggest? And I'll continue that for a moment. The few I've tried emphasize any fine lines, and that's not what I'm after.
For sure. Yeah, so I guess it depends on skin type as well. I'm guessing her skin is maybe a little bit more on the dry side. That's just, or she could have a couple oily spots, but let's just say it's a little bit more on the dry side. So what you're gonna wanna do is use like a lighter foundation. So maybe a water-based foundation. Makeup Forever has a nice water base. I'll show you guys. I have two actually, that would be good. Okay, so I can't find my MAC Face and Body right now, but Makeup Forever has a water blend foundation. This one right here. This one is really, really, really nice and lightweight. So this isn't going to emphasize anything. MAC also has a foundation that's similar. It's called Face and Body. So I recommend that. The nice thing about that foundation is it's so lightweight that you can do layers. So if you do one layer and if that's enough coverage for you, then perfect, you're good to go. But the more layers you do, of course, the more texture you're likely to emphasize. So sticking with less layers and lighter layers, so really going with a light hand when you're applying your foundation is going to be key. Also, if she has a beauty blender, this little sponge tool that I was using on Liz here, this is really, really key for not adding too much product, because the nice thing about the beauty blender is that it is taking away some of the product as it's blending, which some people don't like because it is, you know, eating at some of your product. But at the end of the day, then you're knowing that you're not going in with too much on the face. So I do like that tool as well. Another thing is in applying your powder, I find in emphasizing any kind of lines, you're gonna wanna make sure that you powder really lightly. So if you do have texture or any fine lines, let's say at the back of your eye here, you're gonna wanna make sure you don't add powder to that area. That's not, now when you don't add powder, that means that your makeup isn't going to last as long in that area, but it's kind of a toss up whether you want it to be sitting in the lines or not lasting. So I recommend not adding powder, just maybe blending that area out if it does kind of sit in any lines. And I think that will be the best bet.
Cool. Now, I, on the other hand,
yeah,
kind of an oily. So, and I don't necessarily wear foundation. Should I be wearing foundation or should I be wearing powder? Or both?
I guess that's completely preference. I 100% prefer foundation. But if you use a nice mineral foundation, a nice mineral powder, and you have oily skin, that could work for you as well. I think it's just finding what you like. And especially if you like a lighter look for every day, maybe you don't want to go on with the full foundation and you prefer like just a mineral powder. That's not, yeah, I don't think the nice thing about makeup is like there aren't any hard and fast rules. You can kind of do whatever works for you, whatever your preference is. So
nice.
Yeah, so it's totally up to you. But if you did want to go in with a foundation, you could go in with like a more matte foundation, just in these areas. Or what you could do is go in with like a light foundation like the Face and Body, and then just use your concealer to be kind of the mattifying effect in those areas, and then just set your concealer. Because you have very nice skin as well, so you'd be fine to go in with like quite a bit of powder if you need. Yeah.
Now, age-old question that everybody asks,
yeah,
and that is, how do you go about finding the right shade of lipstick?
Of lipstick, ooh, that is a good one. A lot of times they say it's based on skin tone. So if you have lighter skin, they say you should stick with like more, like for reds, for example, they say you should stick with more of like the orangey tones, and the deeper your skin gets, the deeper the red should get. But I honestly think, again, that is preference. I think if you go in and you like whatever color on your face, I think the biggest thing with lipsticks is go in, try some lipsticks on, see what you like on your face. Because some people like, you know, mauve, some people hate mauve, some people love peaches, some people like pinks. I think it's a huge preference, and whatever you think looks good on you. I don't think there's too many rules about that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. But usually they say fair skin is pinks, a little bit more deeper tone skin is peaches. It's kind of the general rules, but those, again, it's totally preference, I think.
Now, I think you did a really good job, especially on the eyes, because I find that when I try to do a smoky eye on myself, being that I'm over 50, I tend to look a little bit like a raccoon that got caught up in some film. It doesn't work that well. Now, is that because I have aged skin, and should I be doing that pulling up thing that you talked about, making sure that the darkness doesn't go too high?
So you're finding that when you go in with the crease color, that it's just coming a little bit too high and making the eye look like a raccoon, as you described? Okay, so all you have to do then is, so let's say we took, the first color that we went in with on Liz's crease was a really light shade. So I always recommend going in with the crease with a light shade. So just look straight ahead, actually. And what you're going to want to do then, specifically for you, Sue, is do it with your eye open. So you can see exactly where you want it to hit, which is just above here. You don't want it to be going all the way up here. That's way too high. So I guess keeping it low would be really, really big for you. And then going in with a lighter color to start. And then when you want to build the darkness, what you're going to do is you're going to build the darkness at the back. So you're just going to build the darkness on the lid at the back here. I'll show you guys a little bit closer. And just look down. So any darkness that we build at the back of the lid here. And this area should be light. If you wanted to, just look straight ahead. If you wanted to build the darkness at the back, we could go in with a little bit of darkness in the crease here, but we wouldn't take it above at all. Anything above the crease should be your transition color, unless you're going for a really, really smoky, glam, photo shoot type look.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. And I think my last comments, I mean, I know people will have they probably will after.
Yeah.
As they absorb. Darn, I should have asked. And I know we're going to have this on. So I'm sure we can answer a few questions. Would we be able afterwards, I would love to be able to just put up links to, you know, your lashes and the products that you're talking about, because I think that would be super helpful for everybody. And you have a few websites that and pages that you want to promote, so we're going to put those up as well.
That'd be fabulous. Yes, and if anyone has any questions after, I can definitely head on over to your page and just answer some of the comment section too. If they just want to mention maybe their skin type and stuff when asking questions, that'd be super helpful.
Well, this was so fun. I'm so sorry about a little bit beginning.
No, this was lovely. I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
It was so.
I hope you learned a lot. And if you have any questions too, Sue, you just let me know.
Oh, you know I will.
It's perfect. Fabulous. Well,
All right.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Meagan. It was wonderful for you to do this for us, and I know I'll have you. And I think I might see you in Regina in February.
Oh, no way. Okay, definitely let me know.
Yeah, I might come back for the recrowning of the new Mrs. Canada Classic. So
it'll
be fun.
Yeah, that'd be lovely. Definitely, you know, we'll have to do a little tutorial.
Exactly. It'd be fun.
It'd be fabulous.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.